That voted for him.
You should be deporting yourself.
Why should I deport myself?
Because you're brown skin.
I'm a U.S. citizen, man.
Here. We don't want brown skin people
you're going to get deported.
That is one of the most.
What the hell are you doing here? You should be back in Mexico.
Why should I go back to Mexico?
Because that's your country.
Why is that my country?
This is not your country.
You're not white. This brown skin, they don't want you.
And again, another one bites the dust. How many videos am I going to have to make to tell you if you don't look like me, but you think because you're not black, it's not going to happen to you? It's going to happen to you. And the irony is your proximity to whiteness is never going to save you, and the call is always going to come from inside the house. Let's not forget that just a week and a half ago, they found a 19-year-old Latino boy hanging outside of a police department in Washington, D.C. We will never like you. We will never accept you. We will use you. We will abuse you. And then we will toss you aside. She's a dead woman walking. If she'll get drunk and get on Instagram on somebody else's page and talk like this, do you imagine what she says within the police department with other officers? So now they're thinking if she'll yap, she'll yap. So we need to worry about that. We'll never protect you. We'll never choose you. And you are not safe with us.
Welcome back. How are you guys doing? Thank you to all my return subscribers. I really appreciate y'all. This right here, it is getting crazy. And if you're new here, thank you. Please don't forget to subscribe if you like this kind of content. We bring everything trending on the news, on the internet. We bring it down here. We had our commentary respectfully. You can join the conversation down there in the comment section. Let's just dive right into this.
Coming up on 1 year of the Trump administration, I need other Latina people to let go of the idea that you're white. Many Latina people don't believe themselves to be white, but many people do, and they often refuse to refer to themselves as Latino, Latina, Latina. And they're like, I'm Hispanic. And I low-key think that that's a racial thing, trying to separate yourself from darker Latina people. But for people who are still holding out, I need you to be for real. There are people joking about feeding all of us to alligators, / killing all of us, or expelling all of us from the country. That's not what they do for white people. Talked about as invaders and criminals, not as normal people, not as the way that European immigrants are. This isn't new. My whole childhood, people were like, what are you? Or, oh, can you speak Spanish? And when I would say no, they would be like, can you just try? As I got older, I'd have people threatening me and yelling slurs at me, saying shit like, this is Trump's America, when I was a kid. Or screaming when I was in a store that I was gonna steal their purse. I got pulled out in the 2nd grade to test if I spoke English, even though I spoke English better than every other kid in that fucking class. Much like the conservatives of other groups of color, Latino conservatives often try to convince us that racism is either not a problem or that we're white or whatever, and they're fucking lying. They're deluding themselves because it makes them feel safer or more comfortable, but it's not true, and it's not real, and it's dangerous. We need collective solidarity and especially class solidarity right now, but we still need to be able to address racism, and people of color need to stand together on this. Not try to separate ourselves and say that we're really white, or we're basically white, or we're one of the good ones. Whiteness is not an inclusive identity. It's exclusive. It's defined by who is not white. There is nothing there. And it changes, and it shifts. In a few decades, we're set to be the largest group in this country. It is a real opportunity for us to equalize things, as long as we don't let our people fall for some lie that we're white now. And I understand race works differently in Latin America, but this isn't Latin America. This is the United States. Race works differently in different societies, and in this one, we are not white. No matter how appealing trying to pretend to be is for certain people, I have no interest in that. The bottom line is, if I am not being treated as white by white people, can we be serious right now? It is genuinely shameful to try to pretend to be white, to be super conservative, to be racist towards other groups when you are literally a person of color, no matter how much you want to deny it. You will not convince me that Latina people are white. You just won't. That's gaslighting. You're gaslighting on a societal level, and it's crazy.
I understand minorities that go hard with being racist against black people, because guess what? You're still not getting in the club. This is a very, very tight group. No matter how hateful you are towards any other minority, you're not getting in. And even if you get into one of these circles, you will always be reminded that you don't belong. And I know it's just a collection of awful people, but they only want the white ones. No matter how hard you tap dance, they don't care.
Congratulations, Ashley Gonzales. You got yourself fired. for not understanding something that a bunch of different versions of Uncle Tom and Uncle Tam and all of this other stuff don't get. You are not a white person. There is no universe where you just get away with being racist while having a regular day job. Doesn't work that way. It barely works that way for actual white people. Why you think it works for you, I don't know. I also don't care. What I do care about is the reality that people like you are embarrassing. You hear me, Ashley? You are an embarrassment to your entire ethnic group. You are a literal shame. Because me and a bunch of other people already know there's a bunch of Hispanics who don't support thoughts like yours. But we also know that people like you like to blend in and in a position of power, no less. You can tap dance even though you were never going to be a part of the party. You're not. But check this out, Ashley. While you're down at that unemployment office trying to figure out how you can keep yourself out of an internment camp because you just became an unemployed brown person again. Welcome back to reality. I want you to remember that you are responsible for you losing your job. Not black people, not Latinos, Latinas, no one else. It's your fault. You deserve your failure. You deserve that unemployment. And you deserve the depression you're about to go through. Because instead of becoming a part of something to change it from the inside out, you became one of the worst parts of it. If I saw you in person, I'd spit on you. And so would your family. Because you're a poor excuse for a human. I hope the worst for you. Grown man, by the way. Don't believe me? Watch this. Ashley, when people start targeting members of your family for stuff, remember, that's your fault too.
Latinos don't even like themselves. That is the real problem here. Centuries of colonization have ingrained deep self-hatred, passed down through generations as internalized racism. We've been conditioned to believe that assimilation equals survival, that belonging to white society means erasing our culture, our language, and our history. And today, far too many Latinos are still pathetically desperate for white acceptance. They will do anything to prove themselves worthy of white proximity. They will sell themselves out. They will sell out their families. They will sell out their children, and they will sell out their entire community. They will stab themselves in the back. They will stab the black community and every other marginalized group they should be standing beside in the back, just to beg for crumbs from a table that they will never be invited to sit at. And these very Latinos, they're the reason we as people will never make real progress, because every time we move forward, they sabotage it, destroying any progress that we fight for, even at the expense of their own families and their own communities. And now we're watching the consequences of their betrayal play out in real time. ICE raids, tearing apart their own neighborhoods, and the very democracy of this country hanging by a thread. They most definitely helped do this. They helped the very machine that's now coming to destroy them. And I am beyond pissed.
Well, damn. This is something that you don't see every day.
And again, another one bites the dust. How many videos am I going to have to make to tell you, if you don't look like me, but you think because you're not black, it's not going to happen to you? It's going to happen to you. And the irony is your proximity to whiteness is never going to save you, and the call is always going to come from inside the house. Let's not forget that just a week and a half ago, they found a 19-year-old Latino boy hanging outside of a police department in Washington, D.C. We will never like you. We will never accept you. We will use you. We will abuse you. And then we will toss you aside. She's a dead woman walking. If she'll get drunk and get on Instagram on somebody else's page and talk like this, do you imagine what she says within the police department with other officers? So now they're thinking if she'll yap, she'll yap. So we need to worry about that. We'll never protect you. We'll never choose you. And you are not safe with us.
Somebody telling it straight, direct, no chaser to their faces. More of this, please.
Everybody keeps asking, why do Latinos consistently align themselves with whiteness? Well, there is a historical reason for that, and we're going to get into it. All of this starts in Latin America and the Caribbean during colonization. At this time, in that region, there were 3 major human trafficking organizations: the British, the French, and the Spanish. They all had colonies in Latin America and the Caribbean, and they were all engaging in human trafficking, aka slavery. But the three countries had very different approaches to how they organized society. The British were known to be the harshest of the human traffickers in this region. Under British colonial rule, there were strict and rigid racial boundaries. Basically, there was the white people and the non-white people, and that was it. There was no mobility between the two. If you were born enslaved, you were probably gonna die enslaved. And the British were also known for being the most brutal traffickers out of them all. Then you have the French. They weren't as brutal as the British, and they weren't as rigid in their racial boundaries, but they were rigid as well. You can see here the caste system from Haiti, which was then known as Saint-Domingue. There's essentially three classes here: white people, colored people, and slaves. And as you can see, the white people are split up into the Grand Blanc, which are the wealthy planters, and the Petit Blanc, which are the merchants and the officials. And you have the gens de couleur. They are separated by free people by virtue of having white parentage, aka mixed people, and then free people who purchased their freedom. And lastly, you got the black people who are enslaved. So as you can see here, there's more stratification of their racial classification than in the British colonies, which were essentially white and non-white. There was some porousness between racial distinctions, but ultimately it was still very rigid in the French colonies, and what you were born into is what you would die into. Social mobility, upward mobility really wasn't a thing, which is part of the reason why the Haitian Revolution started. And now for the Spanish colonial system. This is the caste system of Latin America. As you can see, there are so many different categories that you can be placed into. It is not the binary white or non-white that you see in British colony, and it is much more complex than what you see in French colony caste systems. And that's because the Spanish had a very porous racial boundary system. The Spanish were much more flexible. They allowed for upward mobility. The Spaniards were down to intermarry with black people and indigenous people, something you rarely saw in the British colonies, and you didn't see that much in the French colony. And as a result, in Spanish colonies, you had much more of an opportunity for upward mobility. Just because you were born a slave doesn't mean you had to die enslaved. You could literally marry your way out of enslavement and up the social hierarchy. This is where the concept of blanqueamiento came in. This is where the concept of mejorar la raza came in, which means making your race better. Blanqueamiento means whitening the race. Because in Spanish colonies, you were actually able to improve your station in life by whitening your bloodline. So this mentality stuck. And it got passed on generation after generation, even after slavery was abolished. And so now in 2026, you have a whole entire community of people across dozens of countries who believe that aligning themselves with whiteness can improve their station in life. But unfortunately for them, this is in Latin America. So that mentality is not pervasive here, which is why they keep screwing themselves.
And y'all believe that we are going to be learning along the way. Credit to the creators for giving us this opportunity to hide our coming. And I love the way she explained it. She explained it for us to understand the mindset of some Latinos. And I'm going to say kudos to her for giving us that opportunity to enlighten us, to get us exposed to why some Latinos are this way. How do y'all see this? Go down in the comment section. Yo, I said this before in the last segment. For your Latinos to be coming out, I said, no, you went too far. That means she went too far. Ashley did not think before she just pressed record, and she believes she can say whatever she want to say. towards the African Americans, but right now she has been rejected by her community and even the white. She herself trying to associate herself with some particular group, and the groups are coming out and saying, no, we don't want you. Isn't that something? Adios it is. I am going to catch up with you guys in the next one. Go down in the comment section respectfully. Add your comments. I am going to catch up with you guys. Bye for now.